Her Excellency Kolinda Grabar, Mrs. Kolinda Grabar, Kitarovic, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm really sorry. We're truly honored to have you here. She served as the first woman and the youngest president of Croatia in 2020. After having been elected to the Croatian Parliament in 2003, served in the senior leadership of NATO as NATO Assistant Secretary General for Public Diplomacy. She was the chair of the Council of Women Leaders from 2019 to 2020 and remains chair emerita. She studied at Zagreb University of Croatia, the Diplomatic Academy in Vienna, the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University, and the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., where she was a Fulbright Scholar for pre-doctoral research in international relations and security policy. She was subsequently awarded the Fulbright Lifetime Achievement Award. Truly an honor to have you here, ma'am. In order to felicitate ma'am, I would request Ambassador Anil Trigunayat, Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, Dr. Anita Jain, Mr. Abhinav Pandya, Dr. Sumit Seth to please come before the stage. Could I please request Mr. Maharana to come and join us here?
Yeah. Sir.
Could you please have
Your Excellency, Ma'am, to come and sit on the stage. Your Excellency, Ambassador Geopolitics, come and sit on the stage. Legend Khanna sir, Ambassador Trigunayat sir, please come and sit on the stage. To welcome Maharaj Kumar Shri Vishwara Singh Ji Sahab here, and I would like to welcome Tejendra Khanna Sahab, Ambassador Gilon sir, and all the other dignitaries for coming to this event and making this event a great success. Over the last 2 days, we have had several sessions on various topics. We've had sessions on economy, trade and investment. We had sessions on grey zone warfare, hybrid warfare, problems with the drones and all. We had sessions on G20, we had sessions on Quad, and today we are here like towards the last part of this event, though we still have 2 sessions in which we can meet after this event, but this is the main part of the event, and we are really honored to have Kolinda ma'am here with us today as our keynote speaker. We are also honored to have Ambassador Gilon here, because Israel is certainly a great friend of India, and with Usanas Foundation also, we have cultivated a very special relationship with Israel. We have fellows and coordinators from Israel working with us, as researchers. I would also like to welcome Tejendra Khanna sahab, who has been a mentor to Usanas Foundation, and definitely Dr. Sumit Se for supporting this entire event. Today, the world seems to be in a great turmoil. We are looking at event like when things are changing, it all seems to be in a great transition. We can see revisionist states trying to change the cartography of the world. We can see that terrorism and the problems emanating from religious extremism are still very dominant. Then there are problems associated with climate change, pandemics, new kinds of weaponry, including the biological weaponry. This all thing, it shows that this is some kind of a major transition. There are technological changes pertaining to artificial intelligence, changes and innovations like ChatGPT, which are making human lives very different. You can see through the social media and very increased surveillance and very increased penetration into the common people's lives. We can see that this is a very different world that we are living in. So these changes are very comprehensive. It's in the social realm, it's in the political realm, it's in the realm of international relations, geopolitics. We have new domains like technology and geopolitics. So amidst all these changes, I guess every country is looking at asking this question, how to navigate through these changes. And India is certainly at a very critical moment, because over the last 8-9 years, Indian government has shown that that's definitely it's a country which can take strong decisions when it comes to national security. It can take a very principled stand when it comes to foreign policy matters. We have started new traditions, new definitions. India gave yoga to the world in the last, I would say, 7-8 years. We have started many new interventions like Solar Alliance, climate diplomacy. So certainly there is a lot which we can contribute. But definitely, as far as geopolitics is concerned and policies are concerned, there is a need for the introspection. And this is why we have decided, we are organizing this dialogue, and we have dedicated it to the Maharana Pratap, the great warrior, statesman, and the great legendary hero of Mewar, who continues to inspire us even today. And the reason why we decided to dedicate this event to him is that in this current world of transition, India needs its own narrative. Borrowed wisdom, borrowed theories of international relations, they cannot help us navigate. And it's not just about India. It's also about finding new theoretical frameworks to decide the course of the international relations. I'll just give one example. In a typical IR theoretical framework, we have seen things through the trinaries of realism, liberalism, or constructivism. But I guess all these three notions have kind of failed to explain the world and explain the things that are happening in front of us. Realism, if that says that, human nature is entirely brutish and man is destined to war. Liberalism, which would say that yes, human nature is cooperative, but the cooperation is purely transactional, based on business relations and all. So these trinaries and binaries make it very difficult to explain the world. But if we look at the Indian text, Indian scriptures, which go back centuries, in the past, then there is a lot more wisdom which can be explored. Just one example. In Mahabharata, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that human nature is, Prakriti is Trigunatmak. Trigunatmak means it has three traits, Sat, Rajas and Tam. So when you have a trait of Sat, you are more benign, you are gentle, you have spiritual pursuits, you want peace. When there is a trait of Rajas, it's more about empire building, or it's more about having material pleasures in life, having a very sound material life. There's nothing negative about it, but it's about this worldly existence. Then there's this third trait of tamas, which is about darkness. He says that human nature is a combination of these three different traits. There's nothing called absolute sat or absolute rajas or absolute tam. It's always a combination of these three traits. And the different permutations and combinations of these three traits decide a human nature. And collectively, the nature of all human beings
decide the course of the geopolitics. So I guess these structures we should certainly explore. Then the concept of dharma. This has got nothing to do with religion. Dharma means what is righteous. And I guess when it comes to foreign policy matters, at a very deep-rooted subconscious level, we still try to follow these notions, these diktats. Like India's stand in the recent Russia-Ukraine ongoing war or a special operation. India's stand has been a very principled stand. On one hand, Prime Minister Modi has clearly specified that this is not an era of war. This is an era of peace, dialogue and diplomacy. But on the other hand, we have refused to be blinded and swayed by a narrative or a propaganda which is driven by one particular side. We have decided to take our own stand, which is an independent stand, which is the stand of strategic autonomy, but it doesn't come from pessimism. We are not silent bystanders. We are very active, we are involved in it, but we have taken a very ethical stand. This position makes India a very, very suitable candidate, a very, very suitably placed to negotiate the peace, to find out ways for peace. Another concept, the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is also the motto of our G20. This is something very new. And the entire world is a family. In Upanishad, in Dasham Sukt, it is mentioned that a human body is like a cosmos. Human society is compared to the human body. We have different parts of human society, like people who are traders, people who are into business, people who are into warrior class, people who are into ruling class. They are compared with the different parts of the human body. And it is said that all these different parts, they are symbiotic with each other. So there is no place for conflict. It's all about mutual peace, mutual arrangement, and living in harmony. Living in harmony. So that's what our ideals espouse. So I think this is the time when India can navigate this course of geopolitics by exploring wisdom which is hidden in Mahabharata, which is hidden in Kamandak Niti Sar, which is hidden in Shukraniti, which is hidden in Kautilya. This is something which is very imperative for us. And lastly, I would like to say that when we talk of national security, today the challenges are very diverse in nature. We have challenges from propaganda war, challenges from information war, hybrid war. And these are the battles which are not fought on the borders. You cannot simply rely on the military to fight these battles. Any country has fault lines, various kinds of fault lines. And India, given its long civilization history, it has a huge diversity. And these diversities, they are often exploited as fault lines. So, I think we need to connect an average common citizen with this whole concept of national security. As I was talking to Dr. Seth day before yesterday, and he mentioned it rightly, that the people have to know that the food which they are eating, it is being served at a reasonable prices because of a good foreign policy. They are living in peace. The kind of security which our citizens are enjoying is because of the good foreign policy. And that is a message, that is an awareness which needs to be conveyed to each and every part of the society. Because once we have the whole collective effort, then only we can have a collective efforts towards national security. Lastly, when we want to associate common people with this idea of national security and foreign policy participation, I guess the people, the common people, especially the youth, needs to be treated with dignity, empowerment and opportunities. We started while I was serving in Kashmir, in an advisory capacity with the Honorable Governor. We started one experiment. In each and every district, the collectors and SPs, they used to meet 10 to 15 students from that district every week, and they used to invite them for dinner or for lunch, have a common chat, discuss various issues pertaining to society, militancy, conflict. So that was the bond which was created between the government, administration and the common people. That binds people, the common man, the youth, to the cause of national security. It can never be in isolation. You have to create those linkages. This is what I have to say. I'll rest my case here. Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.